a vast expanse of water, as expansive as a football field, teasing with the promise of adventure. The day had been ordinary, birds circling, seals lurking, and dolphins playing in the distance. But then, as if on cue, the atmosphere shifted. Terns, gannets, seals, and dolphins orchestrated a symphony of anticipation. It was just a matter of time before the feeding frenzy erupted. As the tide reached its peak, half a dozen gannets dived into the water with precision. We positioned our boat strategically, looping around the frenzy, allowing nature to take its course. The tension was palpable, thick enough to slice with a knife. And then, in an explosion of chaos, the dolphins joined in, amplifying the frenzy to a whole new level. "This is it, boys," my mate Simon exclaimed, his excitement infectious as we navigated towards the spectacle. Our lures trailed behind us, poised to tempt the giants lurking beneath the surface. The anticipation was so thick you could practically taste it. Suddenly, it happened. The silence shattered as one of our lures was devoured by a behemoth beneath the waves. The reels screamed in protest as the battle commenced. It was a dance of man versus nature, adrenaline coursing through our veins as we fought to tame the beast on the other end of the line. But here's the kicker. Just when we thought we had the game figured out, nature threw us a curveball. A colossal run of southern bluefin tuna, jumbo-sized and ready for the taking, surged into our waters unexpectedly. It was a golden opportunity, a chance to rewrite the fishing calendar and make the most of a season that had caught us off guard. And so, with hearts racing and excitement bubbling over, we seized the moment. The months that followed were a whirlwind of epic battles and triumphant victories, each catch more exhilarating than the last. Because that's the beauty of fishing. Just when you think you've seen it all, nature surprises you with something even more extraordinary. So picture this. I'm chilling in my tackle shop, shooting the breeze with fellow anglers, when suddenly everyone's buzzing about one thing: massive tuna sightings. Now, why are these big boys here, you ask? Well, theories are flying faster than a bait fish chased by a hungry predator. Some reckon it's the infamous Geelong Star super trawler sweeping up bait on the East Coast. Others speculate about changes in water conditions or the curious absence of the usual tuna run up the east coast of Nennistallas. And then there's the idea that maybe, just maybe, it's because more folks are out on the hunt during a time when these beasts aren't typically on the radar. But here's the kicker, folks. Southern bluefin tuna? They march to the beat of their own drum. They'll show up when they darn well please and vanish just as mysteriously. Now, let's talk about hunting elephants. Tuna-sized elephants, that is. Over the years, it's become crystal clear that the shallow waters are where the real action's at. Forget the deep blue beyond the continental shelf. We're talking about the shallows, where the big boys gather in droves. But what lures these behemoths to these shallows, you ask? Well, it's like a buffet down there, folks. Picture this. 30 to 60 meters below the surface, you've got sprawling reef systems teeming with every snack a tuna could dream of. From krill to pilchards, whitebait to mackerel. It's a veritable feast. And let's not forget about the party atmosphere. With minimal currents to mess with their dinner plans, the bait fish can't resist lingering around. That's when the big mammals swoop in to lend a hand, or rather, a flipper. Seals, dolphins, heck, even whales get in on the action, herding up the bait fish like it's their own personal sushi conveyor belt. And up above, the birds are putting on a show of their own, signaling the location of the feast below. It's like a coordinated dance of nature, with everyone playing their part in this underwater drama. First things first, let's talk about reading the signs. When you're out on the water, keep those peepers peeled for clues from our feathered and flippered friends. Birds flying east while you're heading west. Flip that boat around, my friend, because where they go, the action follows. And it's not just about the big flashy displays. Sometimes it's as subtle as a pair of terns coasting along or a couple of gannets taking a nosedive. Learn to read between the lines and you'll find yourself right in the middle of the action every time. But hold on to your hats, folks, because when you see a frenzy of gannets and seals going to town on a bait ball, you know things are about to get real. And trust me, you'll want to be right in the thick of it when those big tuna decide to make an appearance. Keep an eye on those tide changes and previous catch reports. These big boys have a knack for showing up when you least expect it, so be ready to pounce when the opportunity presents itself. Now, let's talk gear. Oh boy, this could be a debate for the ages, but I'll give you the lowdown on what's been working for most folks lately. It's fascinating how these tuna have their preferences. Switching up their menu like it's nobody's business, divers like Rapala X-Raps and Halco Laser Pros are usually hot commodities, but lately, it's all about the skirts, baby. These flashy lures have been the stars of the show, with patterns like blue mackerel and real red bait stealing the spotlight. But here's the kicker. It's not just about size, it's about attitude. While in the past, we've seen big tuna go for smaller lures, this recent action has thrown us a curveball. We're talking big pushers in sizes that'll make your jaw drop. I'm talking 8 to 10 inch monsters that somehow manage to lure in those hungry giants. It's a bit of a head scratcher considering the tuna are feasting on pint-sized pilchards and whitebait. But hey, who are we to argue with success? Now picture this. You're out on the water, scanning the horizon for any sign of action, and suddenly it hits you. The craving for that big, fat steak of a fish. Sure, peanuts are nice, but when there's a juicy meal on offer, it's time to get serious. In the fish world, it's all about reward for effort, and let me tell you, one big meal packs a punch compared to a buffet of tiny whitebait. So, let's talk lure choices, shall we? With so many options out there, it's easy to get overwhelmed. But fear not, my friends, because we've got the inside scoop on what's been working like a charm lately. Think Pakula Sprockets in Lumo Green and Illusion, Pakula Cockroach in Evil Angel, and Richter Splash in UV Blue, just to name a few. These bad boys have been absolute game changers, with their strong swimming action and straight line appeal driving those tuna wild. And let's not forget about the colors, folks. Bright greens, UV blues, and anything that screams dinner time have been reeling in the big ones left and right. And if you're into pilchard imitations, blues, silvers, and a hint of pink are where it's at. Trust me, these colors are like catnip for tuna and marlin alike, but if I had to pick just one lure to rule them all, it'd have to be Big Dog. This sorry or nautilus squid imitation is a bona fide tuna magnet, reeling in catch after catch like nobody's business. And don't sleep on bullet-style lures either. They may not have much action, but boy, do they know how to get the job done, especially in that coveted shotgun position. Now, let's talk gear, folks. When it comes to rods and reels, it's all about finding what works best for you. But for most anglers, 24 kilo tackle is the sweet spot, giving you enough firepower to wrangle those big boys without sacrificing the thrill of the fight. And if you're feeling extra ambitious, bumping up to 37 kilo in gear can make for some serious multiple hookup action. But here's the golden rule, folks. Always, and I mean always, make sure your reel is loaded with fresh line. These tuna aren't messing around, and they'll sniff out any weaknesses in your gear faster than you can say, fish on. And when it comes to terminal tackle, keep it light and stealthy. 130 Lobo-By Black Magic Tough Trace and 150 Uo-By Wind On leaders are your best friends in the pursuit of these underwater giants. First things first, stay cool as a cucumber and trust your instincts. This ain't no time to panic. It's time to show that tuna who's boss. Don't just sit back and let him call the shots. You gotta make him work for every inch of line. If he's not giving an inch, it's up to you to reel it in. Remember, every second you're resting, he's plotting his next move. Now, when you're nearing the finish line, it's time to get those gaffs ready if you're planning to bring your catch on board. Aim for the head with a big fixed or flying gaff. Trust me, it's the most effective method. And once you've got that beauty on board, bleed it out and take good care of it. These big fish can make for some mighty fine eating, so treat them with respect. But here's the thing, folks. As much as we all dream of hauling in a record-breaking catch, we gotta remember to give back to the sea that gives us so much. That's right, I'm talking about catch and release. Sure, it's tempting to weigh and measure every big fish that comes your way, but think about the bigger picture. Our oceans are precious, and these jumbo tuna are slowly recovering from years of overfishing.